President Xi Jinping's trip starts in Seattle, where he'll meet with top business executives. He's also expected to hold private talks with the CEOs of Apple, Microsoft and IBM. The next day, President Xi Jinping will visit the headquarters of plane maker Boeing and tour its Everett factory. He's set to attend a private dinner at home of Bill Gates. The Chinese president is also expected to deliver a speech at a round table where 15 chief executives of prominent U.S. companies and the same number from China will participate. Those companies come from a broad cross-section of industries, including internet giants such as Apple, Microsoft and Facebook, and China's Alibaba, Baidu and Tencent, as well as representatives of banks, food companies and steel and construction companies. CEOs from the two countries are expected to raise concerns about gaining greater access to each other's markets. Now, for the latest on President Xi Jinping's first state visit to the U.S., let's cross live to our correspondent Jessica Stone in Seattle. Hello, Jessica. Give us a little bit of background of the history between Seattle in Washington state and China. Is the city prepared for Xi Jinping's visit?
They absolutely are. You know, Seattle, Washington has welcomed three prior Chinese presidents. This will be their fourth welcome of a Chinese president to Seattle, and they are well aware of what they need to do and how they need to be hospitable to these Chinese leaders. In fact, it goes back to Deng Xiaoping, the first Chinese leader to visit Seattle. So that's how far we're going. But, you know, the most recent visit by a Chinese president to Seattle was in 2006 when President Hu Jintao came here. He actually established somewhat of a blueprint that we're going to see for President Xi's visit in terms of visiting Boeing, visiting Microsoft, and dining at Bill Gates's house. There is a very, very strong trade tie between the state of Washington and the nation of China. 1/4 of Washington's exports go to China. It accounts for 90,000 jobs in the state and more than $29 billion of trade between the two countries just last year. There's also a very significant Chinese population in the area, and there will be time in President Xi's visit for him to meet with some Chinese Americans as well.
Well, Jessica, what kind of business cooperation or trade deals can we expect from there?
Well, I think everyone is going to be keeping a close eye on that visit to Boeing's Everett factory by President Xi Jinping. You know, President Hu Jintao used that to announce the purchase of 60 planes back in 2006. When he came here in 2011, he bought 200 more. So there's a strong possibility that we'll see a deal announced there. As I mentioned, 90,000 jobs dependent on the trade between Washington state and China. And there's going to be a couple of more signings of memorandums of understanding and sort of side deals announced on Tuesday, including a deal between two nuclear power companies. The Chinese National Nuclear Company and TerraPower here in Washington state are expected to sign a memorandum of understanding to build a new nuclear power plant, what's called a next generation nuclear power plant. That is coming on the heels of the climate arrangement, the climate deal that was reached last year by President Xi Jinping and President Barack Obama. We're also expecting to hear about some more cooperation between the University of Washington and Tsinghua University in clean energy, and also a technology incubator project to be announced between Shenzhen and Seattle. So that's just the tip of the iceberg on Tuesday. We'll keep you posted on what's coming next.
Thank you very much. Our correspondent Jessica Stone in Seattle.